Hello and g'day. Today's video is about a makeup brush blending ink. Now I'm going to show you a couple of ways I use these makeup brushes with stencils and distress ink. Now they work really well with distress oxide as well. So if you want to get your hands on some of these, stick around because I've got a 10-piece brush set to give away. And because it's Christmas time, I've also got another 2 giveaways, and that'll be in my next 2 videos. One will be this new ink blending tool, and it's got a foam domed applicator. So it's something new, and I'll show you that in the next video, so you've got a chance to win that as well. And in the 3rd video, you'll have a chance to win this creative detailer with some extra refills. And what it does is it cleans up your heat activated foil projects. It's a little motorized thing. It's like a little rubber. And I've seen Jennifer Maguire use this on some of her ink projects. So we'll be testing that out and see how that works for you as well. So 3 giveaways: the blending brushes, the domed ink blending tool, and the creative detailer. Now using these makeup brushes to blend ink is something you should try. If you haven't tried it already, you're going to love it. These are so good, and there are reasons why you would use these brushes over the, say, the domed applicator that I just showed you, or even the flat ones. So I'll show you what they can do. I'm going to show you today how I've done this. I'm using both coffee dyed paper and deli paper. So this is the deli paper. They come in 12-inch sheets like this. I just fold them in half and then cut them down. Well, because we're A4 in Australia, I cut them down, I fold them in half, which gives me an A5 size. Then I work out how I'm going to decorate that page after I've done that. You could go ahead and ink up your whole 12 inches if you wanted to. And you could use that in so many different ways. You could cut out your page and then use all your offcuts everywhere else. But today I'm just going to show you mostly, just how to make a couple of pages. So I'll show you that one, and I'll show you this one as well. So let's get stuck in. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'd grab this piece of deli paper and fold it in half and crease it. Now using an A4 sheet of paper, when I fold that A4 sheet of paper in half, it gives me an A5. So I use that as my template. And you can see here that I'm going to get quite a large piece that I need to cut off. So if I put that on the fold line, I know that I've got to cut that off here at the bottom. And I've got an offcut there. And I'll show you what I do to use them as well. And I've just got to trim that off here. Put that over there. Now, I've also got a Tim Holtz blending mat, one of the glass sheets. I did use that to blend on, and I find my paper slipped all over the place, so I had to stick it down. But when I blend on this mat, it's a self-healing cut mat, it worked a bit better for me, and it just holds nice and still. So you can either open it up or you can leave it folded. The deli paper is pretty easy to work with. It does have a matte side and a shiny side. Again, I use both. If I go, where's this bit? Oh yeah, this bit here, I've when you fold it, your matte pieces on the top, and then the inside of it, your shiny pieces here. I used both, so you can stencil on both. Okie dokie, let's start stenciling. So grab your stencil, center it evenly from there to there, a little bit wider from there to there, and a bit shorter at the top. So once you've worked out the center, bring back my blending tools, my blending brushes. I'm using tea dye. That's the colour I'm going to use today. I always use vintage photo, but I thought today I'll use a different colour. I'm going to hold it nice and still, and I'm not going to let my fingers go from this point here. And I'm just going to start rolling it. You can either hold the handle or you can hold it at the head. You have to reload your brush quite a bit if you want to get it dark like that one. So you just reload, keep going all the way around, reload, reload. Have a sneak peek, right? Anywhere you think that's not dark enough, so it's nice and even, just go over it with a bit more ink. Doesn't take much at all. Because I want to use this as my feature, I'm doing it nice and dark. If you wanted it lighter, just press lighter. And we'll do another one and I'll show you how it would work if you press lighter. So we don't need this stencil anymore. Now I'm going to change over. Now see the very faint background on this one? We're going to do the background pattern for this one as well. I'm going to use this stencil here. It's a beautiful stencil. Now I'm just going to sit that across the corner. I'm going to load my brush. This time I'm not going to press heavy like I did to get that darker area. I'm just going to go lightly in circles. And I'm going to have a peek to see if it's as dark as I want it. If you want it to be a bit more showy, just press a bit harder. You can press harder to the corner here and then come out lighter. So you can see there, I haven't come into this design here or into the middle. So now I'm just going to select that part of the stencil, load up my brush. I'm not going to stencil in there. I'm just going to join it up to where my eye goes. There, see that? Load up. I'm going to move that down and I'm going to continue around and just watch where you go with it so you don't go over the same places. It just gives a much better look if you don't go over an area that you've just done. So I'm only stenciling the edges. It's light in some places and dark in others. So I can do this whole area here. It'll come around the corner. I'm going to go darker in the corner and then come out lighter. And that is a nice technique to give you a really pretty page. Once that page is in your book, you put that in the journal. Whoever gets your journal can come in and glue something in that area there. You can put a sentiment in there, you can do whatever you want, but I think that is a really pretty page for a junk journal. So there's technique number one. Let's do one more. Let's get a piece of coffee dyed paper. We'll just fold this in half. Brush anything off. Again, I can leave it folded like that, I've got this stencil here. I'm going to achieve this by going darker at the bottom and up lighter toward the top, and then nothing at the very, very top. So fortunately, this stencil is perfect. It's exactly the right width for this page. I'm just going to sit it down. I'm going to use the border of that stencil, and I'm going to hold it here. I'm going to load up my brush again, and I'm going to make sure I don't move at all. I'm going to start really dark. I'm holding the head of the brush this time so I can get some real darkness down in the bottom. I want to go really dark right in the bottom. I'm not trying to get that whole area just yet. I'm just circling it. These tiny fine brushes push right down into the stencil. If you're worried about putting any distress ink on your mat, just put something under it. Now I'm backing it off slightly, and I'm just coming up the stencil. I'm still loading it up with ink, but I'm not pressing as heavy as I was. You can see that it's just starting to get lighter. And I know that I'm going to move it up, and I'm going to get lighter and lighter as I go till I disappear at the very top. So now I'm being a lot more gentle to get to here. So that, if there's any bits that you feel you need to fix up, just come over there, and where you loaded it, just sweep it up. You don't have to do this sweeping motion. You just got to be gentle with it if you do. There you have it. That's the blending from dark to nothing. And that looks pretty good on your tea-dyed paper as well. So that's two techniques. I've made these little junk journals. These are a beginner's junk journal, and I've put some deli paper in this particular one. So I've done a few different colours, so you can use your stencil and blend in this way, so they come out really nice as well. All you need to do something like that is, there's a very similar technique to this one. You just use your stencil to there, stop, use your stencil to there, and then what I've done is I got a clear stamp and stamped in the space between. So that's a mixture of a rubber stamp, or a clear stamp in this case, and some stencils. So there's lots of ways that you can, blend the two together if you like. If you've got these pieces left over from the bottom that we cut off, you could always use those in here as well. So I've done a bit of blending on this one. The bird is a bit wide, and if I used it in this book here, he might just lose a couple of feathers off his wings, but I could still use this offcut in a little journal like this. So let's blend another one here. This time I'll use a bird that's not going to come out so wide, and I'll use this cockatoo. Let's start again. This is probably, you could journal over the top of this if you wanted to, or you can just have it as, a pretty page when you turn over the other pages and you see this sitting there. And it's also a really nice feeling paper in your journal. So let's try, no, that's too big. That's too big. we blend this? I might have to go back to this one again. Let's use this one again. I'm thinking it needed something small, and I'll use the vintage photo. Another great thing about these brushes is you can change colour and it's not going to upset the work that you're on. You can wipe it off very easy on another piece of paper too. Dark in the corner. Have a sneaky peek. I'm going to do a little bit darker down here. I sort of went over his eye a little bit, so I didn't do really that well there. But what I could do is come back. Everything's fixable. Using the vintage photo this time, because I want him to be darker. You can blend your colours. And I can come back in and make his head now the dominant part. And I'm not going over every bit of him. I'm just really darkened up some. That's blended into the tea dye. So it's dark there, vintage photo blended into the tea dye. So that's happened all over him. So I've fixed that up just by going back over the top. So now I've got a little, patterned piece of paper. So it's a lovely technique, this one. I like joining two things together, and then you can come back in and, put some more stamping on if you like. But I don't think that needs anything else. Let's do one more. Just say you haven't got any fancy stamps. You've only got something basic and plain. Use an oval, use a circle. Just get a piece of cardboard, cut an oval out or cut a circle out. Use your hole punch. If you've got a really big hole punch, use it up, or just use something like this. Okay, so we'll get another tea-dyed piece of paper, and I'll fold that in half, and it's going to be a page in a junk journal. I'm going to use an oval, and I'm going to use quite a large one. Again, I'm going to use the rule, instead of it being halfway there and there, I'm going to come up a bit higher, but I am going to center it in the page. If you're not really sure that you're going to control these brushes and come over there, put something under it, so you don't mess that up. This will put a line there if you don't watch out what you're doing. Now, when we do this, again, it's going to be a solid fill. I'm going to fill that right up. So it's going to be a solid fill. I'm going to use the vintage photo, load her up, and I'm going to go all the way around. When you do this on tea-dyed paper, it gives a whole different look. You're going to get this variation, and just keep on going and going until you're pretty happy with that look. Well, the good thing about this is you get that really nice sharp line around the oval. See that? That's a nice backdrop to put a photograph on, or another stencil, like we could build it up, make a collage out of it. There's just quite a few things you could do with that one. Now this time, I think we'll use this one, but I'm going to be a bit careful, and I'm not going to let this come out onto here. Now, to prevent that from happening, what I could do is I could cut a mask and put that on here. So I might do that. So we're just very quickly, I'm going to trace out that oval. Sometimes it's really worth going to that little bit of extra, work to make something look really nice. I know that I'm not going to get any of my, pattern in there. There's a little tip that I've been using this for years. Put half of your washi tape stuck down on that. Fold the other half over like that. And then pop it on there and it will hold itself down. Now I can go and blend over here and it's not going to come into my oval and it's not going to interfere with my lovely reverse block. So I'll load up my brush and I'm not coming in dark, I'm going to come in light. I only want to give a little bit of this pattern. Lift it up and have a little look. That's plenty. Don't want to come in any darker. So this time I'm going to sit that there. I don't want this to come across that one. I might just do a little bit there just to fill in that spot. Well, I might have gone a bit dark then. Not to worry. This way I can come all up the way up around the corner. This time I won't come out a bit too heavy. Nice. This is looking good. And hold that down. See what I mean? It was really, really worth it to make that little mask. They call it a mask. Now very carefully, I'm not going to come back in here. See how it's just sitting on there? Very carefully peel off your washi tape. Don't rip it off because we don't want to damage that. That is a very simple effect. Just using an oval. It would work with a circle. It would work with a smaller oval. There's a critter running around on my desk. Anyway, he distracted me for a moment, but try that. He's gone. Oh my God. So there you go. Use that tip there, fold that washi tape over, and that's a great way to hold your mask down. You don't need to use any glues and damage your paper. Get a pretty pattern stencil and come around the edge. I love this technique. It works really well. It gives you some really pretty pages for your journals. Now let's talk about the giveaway. If you'd like a set of these brushes, there's 10 sizes, and honestly, you will love them. They work so, so well. I will send these anywhere. I'm in Australia. I'm not only going to send them out to someone in Australia, I will send them to the USA, I will send them to UK. I will send them anywhere Australia Post sends them out. It's Christmas time, so it's time to give. There's been so much bad news all over the YouTube channels at the moment. This is my way of saying to everyone, keep your chin up, don't give up, get stuck in, keep creating. But the only rule is you will need to comment something like, I'd love these makeup brush blending ink tools. You will need to be a subby of my channel. Don't forget, I'll have these extra things to give away as well. These will be on my next 2 videos, and I'll do some techniques on using these tools. Now you'll have 1 week. I won't make it a long draw because Christmas is coming up. It's pretty close. 1 week. So I'll put the date that this closes in the description box under this video. So if you've got these brushes at home, give this technique a try. I'm pretty sure you'll love the pages that you make up with it. So if you don't have these makeup brushes at home and you want to try this for yourself, you will need to be a subby of my channel. You will need to comment something like, I'd love these makeup brush blending ink tools. I will send them anywhere Australia Post sends them out. It's Christmas time, so it's time to give. I'm Donna, thanks for watching, and bye for now.